Hey, listen, there's these crazy defining moments in your life where you end up in some place, someday, where all the arrows and all roads are pointing to you, and you realize that every decision you have made, everything you ever ran from, and every time you ever stuck your head in the sand is now all caught up with you, and now you're facing a stalemate, a checkmate situation where you can't run from it. And the only way out is through. This is what it was like, and what it can be like when you finally get out of dead-end jobs and you start your own small business. The level of responsibility you have to face, the amount that you have to grow professionally and personally just to get a business off the ground and go full-time and get it to the point where it can feed a family and pay all your bills. If you've done that already, you have made it. You are a success. Like, never mind looking out at people that have $1 million businesses. If you figured out how to get out of the job trap and you got your business off the ground and you got it sustainable and it pays all your bills and all your taxes and you're still working your tail off, but you have made it, right? Now it's only up from here. But what I'm saying is, in the beginning, it's a constant, can be terrifying uphill battle. I remember many times in my landscaping business, which I still have today, right? The terrifying moments of underquoting jobs, 20% into a job, realizing, oh my God, I'm not going to make any money off this, and I have bills to pay. And those decisions where I can't run from this. I cannot run from this. And then you go home and you look in your wife's eyes or your spouse's eyes, and you can't run from that anymore. What I mean is that you have to work on yourself and grow the relationship, work on the business and grow it, work on your education. You start questioning, what are you doing with every single minute of your day, every moment? How are you wasting time and energy? What are you worrying about? Where are you squandering? What are you not appreciating? And I used to call, it might sound ambiguous what I'm saying, why is Keith talking in circles, but hear me out. My friend Rob, who's the coach, I always talk about Coach Rob, I used to call him late at night. I'd even call him at 3 in the morning, terrified. I'm like, bro, please, can you talk to me? Can you talk with me? He's like, what's going on? He says, it's like it's like you're walking a tightrope over fire, like on a pirate's plank. He says you're being squeezed through the cracks. That's what's happening. It's a form of suffering that leads to enlightenment. You are being squeezed through the cracks. And hopefully you're being squeezed up towards the light. It will divide you and separate you and squeeze you and rip you apart down to the molecule. And this is changing and growing and transforming. And I think that the only thing that can pull you through these really hard times is faith. Faith. I've been in a level of gratitude lately that I can't explain. My wife actually had to sit down with me and go, Keith, I want to talk to you about something. I'm like, what? She goes, why have you been so lovey-dovey with me and so... I'm like, I've always been. She's like, no, not like ever. I'm like, if you want to know the truth. And then next thing you know, we're standing in the kitchen. Tears filled up in my eyes. I said, because I know people that didn't make it. They didn't make it figuratively, and they literally didn't make it. I know a lot of people. See, this is what happens. I think this is a little bit of maturity and wisdom that comes into your life, hopefully sooner than later. And I'm experiencing some of this, I think, because I wake up in the morning in a nice warm bed in a nice house with food in the fridge, and my wife is right next to me. She's always within 25 feet of me. I could just run up and hug her and kiss her. And it's free. It doesn't cost me anything. She's right there. My father is still alive. I can pick up the phone and call him and go get lunch. He's still here. There's so many people that you love that are still here. And all you gotta do is call them. And if you could pick up the phone and call them, then how can you face this little tiny problem that's happening on a job site or in your little business? Because as long as you're alive and you're awake and you're breathing and you've got, your hands and your feet and you're not in a freaking wheelchair. Even if you're in a wheelchair, I know a guy who's in a wheelchair who figured out how to build his whole business doing all this other stuff, and he's gonna make it. And he's gonna be fine. He figured it out. Right? What I mean is, every moment above ground is a good day. And so what you need is a paradigm shift. And this is when I said at the beginning of this video, the moment where all roads point at you. And now you're in fear. And you realize that you can't get out of this thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a freaking DUI. It could be some horrible situation. But as long as you say that I co-created this situation, me, and I take full responsibility for this right now, no matter how hard this thing is, I take full responsibility right now. Whew, that's tough, right? But you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Many, many men and women before you have been through far more horrible things. You can do it. And if you feel like you can't do it, go pick up a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl and listen to that on audible.com. That book will give you a checkup from the neck up. Okay? But, so what I'm saying is, when I'm talking about an instantaneous quantum paradigm shift in the moment when you're like on a job site and you're like, this sucks, I underquoted this thing, I got bills due, I got debt, I got family problems, I got someone in my problem who's a horrible alcoholic, and I went to, like, all these things that suck so bad that makes your life a living hell, if it is, what if all of a sudden, right in that moment, you were like, you woke up as if though, like you woke up from a deep sleep and you looked around and said, oh my God, I got the world at my fingertips. I'm here now. This is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity to learn and grow. Go watch the Christmas movie called, oh my God, It's a Wonderful Life. Go watch that on, I think it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime. Go watch it. It'll give you a checker from the neck up. As all of a sudden the man realizes that he didn't die or something, and all of a sudden, like, he runs and he's hugging and kissing his wife and his children and he's happy and it's Christmas. Like, when you change the way you see things, the things you see change. When you realize that the decisions that you make based off when your intention is right and you have positive expectancy, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in love, real love, and you have faith, and you take action based off faith and love. You run up to the person that you're at odds with, and you grab them and shake them and look in their eyes and say, I'm sorry. I love you. I love you. I love you. These are like frequencies. They're vibrations. This is science. If you read Dr. David R. Hawkins, the book Power versus Force, they've measured calibrations. The lowest is actually shame. You thought it was fear? It's shame. Then fear. Then anger. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Shame, fear. Wait, as apathy, shame, apathy, fear. So even as I talk about it, it's a low vibration. Then you work your way up, anger, and then also like the highest. You think the highest is love and unconditional love. The highest vibration is actually peace. peace. So if you change the way you vibrate and the way that you think and the way you perceive things, and you choose to experience deep levels of love and peace and light and see through the eyes of love, through the eyes of equity, you see through the eyes of equity and love, and you have peace in your heart, how would that change things? Integral consciousness, if you read Ken Wilber's book, Cosmic Consciousness, on audible.com, he talks about integral consciousness. How can you think about what John said to Peter, what Mary observing John and Peter talking, how she observed it and what she thought, and how she replied, which Joseph viewed that, and then John was viewing the whole thing. Like, how can you get all these different integrated perspectives? Like looking at one little piece of information on the front of a beach ball, and then you can extrapolate all the rest of it. Integrated consciousness. Like you get out of egocentrism and fear and me, like that caveman, and you move past ethnocentric, which is we and us. Hang with me, we and us. And then you move to world-centric and cosmic-centric. You vibrate through these states of consciousness from, third, fourth, fifth. They call it 5D. I think just a moment in 5D will change your life forever. But I think that fear holds us in place. I've been really thinking about this. I was driving in my truck today. Fear. If you let go of all fear, or the main fears that hold you back, and you took your foot off the brake and stepped on the gas, I think that's scarier than fear itself. Because your whole life might just vibrate apart. The entire reality. Imagine if you're driving in a car and there's a dark cloud going 15 miles an hour over you and it's raining on you. And you get sick of it and you just hit the gas and whoosh, into the bright sunshine. Things would change in your life. I think that we're scared that if we became that positive and that motivated and that energized and had that much belief, that we might run out of gas. And then it'll fall like a hot air balloon. It'll fall back down to the ground. And all the people you done left behind are now calling you a sociopath. And now you're getting accused of being a sociopath because you were just believing in yourself. So we stay. We take these little micro movements. I'm obsessed with this stuff. I think that highly, highly, highly successful people some of them can be sociopaths. And I think that the way to be highly successful without becoming a sociopath is to operate from your heart and from your spirit and stay in the vibration of love and peace, and make sure that you stay rooted and humble and cry regularly. Have a purpose that's bigger than yourself. Something that goes on, that a message that you carry like a baton and hand off to people, that after you're dead and gone, it's not even about you. It's that you made the world a better place. So the greatest thing a man can do with his life is to give it away in service. The greatest thing a man can do with his life is to give it away in service. That's when you move and elevate to what Wayne Dyer talks about as the statesman. Listen to Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention. You can watch the speech on YouTube. It's amazing. It's life-changing. But you might lie in bed like the great poet Rumi and think, what if my whole life has been wrong? So the deepest fear is, what if you look back on your life and you can't go back now? You're on your deathbed. And you say, why didn't I dream bigger? Why didn't I live to my fullest potential? Why didn't I have those difficult conversations with that person and grab them and shake them before they drank themselves to death? I could have done something, but I was too scared. I didn't have the guts. Why didn't I have the courage to go on that trip, or to make that phone call, or to give it my all, or to break through when that client was upset about this thing and say, no, don't you understand? I care from the bottom of my heart, and I actually care about you, and I'm going to make sure this thing gets finished. Instead of maybe sticking your head in the sand and walking away in shame. And now the client thinks that you're a flake, when you could have stood your ground and showed them that you really actually cared. I think there's something to say about having courage. Is your belief in your own ability to figure things out. That's courage, right? And when you have courage and you operate from a place in love, you can have a righteous anger. A righteous anger that's real. It's a healthy anger that says, I love you too much to continue to watch you suffer. Because if you love somebody as much as you say you do, why would you continue to let them suffer? Or the ability to look at somebody and say, I'm not going to let you do this to me anymore. I'm not going to stand for this. I'm done. You are not going to treat me like, and I love you and I still love you. And we're going to grow together. But I'll be damned if you're going to do this to me ever again. All it takes is that one time. Maybe you got to look in the mirror in your own eyes. I'll be damned if you ever do this to me ever again. I used to have pep talks with myself. Look in the mirror. I still do. Look in the mirror, in my own eyes, and say, don't you ever do that ever again. Kelphus. What was it? Underquoting a job. And out there for like 3 days for free, making no money, going, what was I thinking? Then I'll go home covered in dirt under my fingernails, eating spaghetti with the wife, go in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, and just pause and look in the mirror and say, don't you ever do that ever again. And when you feel that sting and you fall on your sword like a warrior, don't run, fall on your sword and feel the sting. And you remember that sting, and next time you're walking around with the client and the client says, oh, this is about $5,000 in work. I think you could do it for... You, the client might not even be saying that. You might be talking yourself down. Yeah, I could do it for $1,200. And then you're out there again. There you are again, doing $3,000 worth of work for $1,200. You done did it all. At the end, you made like $74 profit, and now you're upset at who? You. And then we build all these stories of why it is the way it is, and we tell ourselves. We build a bullshit story, and we repeat the story, and we tell other people, we campaign for votes, but the truth is we didn't take responsibility. At least for in this country, we have the opportunity to move upstream. There are people in other countries who have to work all week to make $74. If they're lucky. Even worse. We're in the United States. I'm not trying to get political, but so you're feeling and testing the world, and you're building these paradigms and these different states of consciousness all the time and experiencing different states of consciousness, right? But sometimes we get stuck, and then we think that that wall doesn't move anymore, and that's just the way it is. And so we stop trying and pushing and trying to figure out the combination, and we got so much stuff going on, and we're so distracted that we just think that's the way it are. And then you walk around for the next 5, 10 years with a belief that you developed when you were like 19, and you just go on thinking that, or 5 years ago, whatever, right? And then, but it's time to revisit those old beliefs and re-question everything and just question your whole life and reality and your own thoughts and your own self-limiting beliefs and say, whoa, 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 whoa. I just had this self-limiting belief. Is it actually a self-limiting? A self-limiting belief. Wow. when my wife was upset about something, did I really actually put myself in her shoes and feel how she felt and really go, oh, wow, you're really upset? Or did, when like, there's all these different things, and I can talk about for 20 hours, and I'm going to. I'm creating a brand new course right now. This is something I've been waiting, that's been brewing inside of me since 2008. 13 years, 14 years. And it's all coming together now, and I'm filming it soon. It's called Know Your Worth. And I'm kind of scared of it because I know that this is what I was meant to do. Know your worth. Know your worth. Here's some plans. Working on. All right, I'm going back in the house. You got this. You got this. Listen to this crazy guy on the internet. I'm looking in your eyes right now, right? You're like, this guy's crazy. And why are you still watching? I'm looking in your eyes right now. I'm telling you, listen, your dreams are real. And don't doubt that they can come true. Because if you got here, it's a miracle that you got here. You can definitely get there. But here's the big secret. There is here. And when you realize that you're in total gratitude here and now, you just start to walk in it. You just got to believe that you're worthy of it and know your worth, and it'll just show up like clockwork. It'll just show up.